Hello and a warm welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Ambra Pavel, and I'm the 2024 Projects Director for JCI Bucharest in Romania, as well as trainer and international coordinator for JCI MaR, JCI Mongolia Academy in Romania, being the Romanian branch of the JCI Mongolia Academy, which resulted from the twinning agreement between JCI Romania and JCI Mongolia, signed last year during the legendary European conference held in Bucharest. We extend a warm welcome to EDC Skill Boosting Counselor, Cristina Cerga, JCI Senator and JCI Romania Past President, who initiated the JCI Know-How online training series. This project was launched by JCI Europe with the support of JCI MaR, seeking to harness the collective expertise of JCI members globally. We have scheduled a total of 8 online training sessions, which will focus on delivering essential information and skills for JCI leaders and aspiring local, national, and international leaders. This is session number 6 and will be recorded and available to all JCI members as all the other sessions. Today, our facilitator will be trainer and judge Narku, who brings a wealth of experience, having served various roles within the national board and also leading the upcoming JCI Asia and the Pacific Conference 2025 Mongolia as COC Director. Among his several roles, Narku is also the personal assistant to the world president and commissioner in charge of the judges in the JCI Mongolia Academy. So thank you once again, trainer and judge Narku, for accepting our invitation and granting me this chance to learn alongside you.
First of all, the warmest greetings to everyone who is here in this session, and the warmest greetings from the coldest capital in the world, Ulaanbaatar. So my name is Narku, and as introduced by Ambra, I'm this year serving to the world president as a personal assistant to him. And also, you guys may be familiar with this Shadow of the President HQ program. So I'm chairing the program, and we have been running through over 20 countries now, and we have around over 30 shadowers who had the chance to be with President, learning from him alongside. And yes, of course, just for today's debating and organizing competition session, I am as a JCI Mongolia Academy commissioner in charge of the judges. So in JCI Mongolia, we have around 80 total members, half of them as trainers and half of them as judges. So I'm the commissioner in charge of the judges this year. All right, so before we get started, let's get to know each other like I introduced myself. And please introduce yourselves, each and everyone in this room. So what are the expectations for this training? So myself is not a trainer actually, but I've been a judge for the 5th year as a judge to JCI Mongolia Academy. So first since 2017, I've been debating. In 2018, JCI Mongolia Academy was created, and they started having the judges. And I'm the 2nd generation judge to JCI Mongolia Academy. And since 2019, I've been judging. In 2019 ASPAC, I was a national team captain as a debater. And since then, I've been the judge. And this year, like I said, I've been the commissioner to JCI Mongolia Academy judges. And the expectation is for how to organize the competition and what are the roles for the debaters and also for the judges. So we have 3 particular parties in order to have a successful debating championship. So at the end of the training session, you will have a idea of how to be a debater and also how to be a judge and what's gonna be the roles for both. And also as a competition organizer, what you need to know. I hope you will have a bit of information about all these 3. this session is suitable for all level debaters, organizers, and judges because it's a very basics. So agenda for today, what's gonna be the topics that we're gonna go over? So the introductions we have just done, and we move on to the next. Why debate? So why debating is important? Why JCI is like actually organizing debating championship since 1970s, right? What are the key that we're putting so much significance to this debating in public speaking competition? And also the debating basics. And also as a judge, we will have the first-hand knowledge about the judging basics as well. And next, we will have JCI Debating Championship. So like we know, we have all level debating championship organized throughout the all national organizations. Like some local chapters have debating championship. Some national organizations have championship, and we have area conference, and we have a world congress, like a world level. And we will move on to JCI debating team structure. So we all know that there is 3 speakers. One is captain, and the speaker number 1, speaker number 2. So we will dig a little bit on that team structure, and also what are the judges' roles. So as a judge, what do we expect from them? That's basic role information about the judges. And next, since we're on this stage, the presentation is also important and the speaking skills. So what do we have to pay attention towards these 2 specific skills? We will go over on that a bit. And of course, it's a debating, there is a motion. So with this motion, we like argue against or for the motion. So we have 2 sides. One side is proposing the motion, the other side is opposing, right? All right, and the other important point in debating is points of information. So actually, this is the very important thing which makes like debating a debating, right? So it's not a public speaking. It's just not about performing on the stage with the prepared speech, but debating is about like real fight on the ring, right? So it's a points of information is a very important, crucial part of debating. And also we will go over a bit about debate scoring. Okay, and now before we get started, because like I say, there's like 3 important parties. One is the participants, the other one is the judges, and the other one is organizers. So these presentation slides try to combine all these 3. Actually, the presentation is specified to each different parties. The roles are different. As a participant, as a debater, the training gonna be completely different one. But for the organizers, it also would be completely different. But with the request of the organizers from the JCI MaR, I try to combine all the aspects from these 3 different parties. So just if you have like any questions, yeah, please stop me. Okay, so let's move on. So why debate? So any volunteer who want to answer this question? Sarah, please.
Well, because debating is where we actually develop our skills and also our, I think, readiness and also our, on-hand knowledge. And it also, I think it's the most fun way to actually compete in JCI, if you ask me. So yeah, that's why I do it at least.
Great. Yeah, just so lot Sarah said, it's a very important skill set for particularly these young leaders. You guys know this JCI has been organizing this JCI debating and public speaking competition since 1970s. And it's been organized for almost like 50 years. So why? Because it's a crucial skill set, like Sarah said, for young leaders to express themselves, right? And of course, there's always limited time. If you're a parliament member, you have like 5 minutes, 2 minutes to open up your microphone, right? So JCI debating is giving you that. And when you have the chance to speak, you have your message should be delivered in a constructive, structured way, and also there should be like, how to say, factual, right? So we can't just express our only thoughts, but it should be based on statistics. It should be based on real stories. So that's what we learn from JCI, right? So for example, myself, let's say I used to argue with my boss, right? Or my colleague. But after I learning debating skills, it's always easier for me to deal with those problems, right? So no longer I got into problem with my boss, stuff like that. So it's a very, very crucial skill set for all level young leaders to get. And I believe JCI is also organizing because of that point of view. So thank you, Sarah, for that. And totally agree with you. Okay, so debating basics. So we have three debaters in one team, and there is a captain and the first speaker and second speaker. So in JCI debating, people say, first speaker say, I'm the second speaker, because they're thinking the order of the speech, right? So no, it's the first speaker. It's the official term we refer to in JCI debating. There's a captain, first speaker, and second speaker. So team lineup is that always the first team captain have the introduction speech, and it's followed by the opposition team team captain, and followed by proposition team speaker one, and opposition team speaker one, and then proposition team speaker two, and opposition team is speaker two, and opposition team team captain, and proposition team team captain. So since 2021, JCI is just shifted to this new order of speech, just because following the British, the parliamentary debating structure. So in the past, actually, it was always like proposition, opposition, proposition, opposition, proposition, opposition. But since 2021, the proposing side should be closing the speech. So that's why the proposing side has to finish by the team captain. Right? Okay, so we have total 10 minutes to deliver the whole points from one team. So let's say proposition team has 10 minutes, which is divided into 3 speakers. So the team captain has a chance to speak twice with 2 minutes given. So the opening speech has 2 minutes, and the speaker 1 has 3 minutes, and the speaker 2 has 3 minutes, and the conclusion speech by the team captain is 2 minutes. So total, one team has up to 10 minutes for proper delivery of their message. And of course, there's a very important, we should have the motions. So that way we gonna debate on that topic. So there's always 2 sides for debating. It's not a public speech. So there is a one side always proposing, other side is opposition. So in British parliamentarian debating, they say the government, and the other party is called opposition. So in JCI, we call it like proposition and opposition, but we can also refer that this house believes that JCI should blah, 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 the motion. Why we use these house beliefs? Because we just kind of replicates these British parliamentarian debating structure and techniques. So that's why we used these house beliefs, the terms. Okay, and we have points of information. So this is the very crucial point in JCI debating. Like I said in the previous slides, that point of information actually makes debating a real debating. Otherwise, if you just come up with the prepared materials and just speak in that, and you just take off of the podium, that's not gonna be debate. That's more like public speech. So points of information is like what makes real debating. And I always like to say that debating is like fighting on the ring, in the boxing ring. So it's like you're punching with the arguments and the details, supporting your own arguments. And the other party can have a chance to, how to say, just lose the punches. So they raise the points of information and asking like critique questions from the other team. So that way they can also knock them off by asking these questions. And it's okay for all three members of the team can raise the points of information. And there is a protected time in debating. So the very first 60 seconds, the first minute of all speakers' time is protected. So which means you can't raise point of information. So the very first 60 seconds is protected. You can feel free to deliver all your messages. And after 60 seconds, the other team start raising the point of informations. And also there is a timeout, and the teams can have 1 minute timeout one time throughout the debating. So it's okay to take timeouts, because let's say you are on the opposition side and the proposition team raised, let's say, they set the scope very narrowly. So you have to discuss with the team, regroup the team, and to restructure all the points that you have prepared. So in order to catch up that, you can take time out, it's okay. So throughout the debating, you can take one timeout of 1 minute timeout, one time. Okay, so now we have the judging basics. Oops. Okay, so in JCI debating, we have at least 3 judges on the table, judging the debate. So in JCI Mongolia, for example, we have the group stage, we have 3 judges. But for the semifinal and final stages, we have 5 judges. So why we have 3 or 5 judges? So basically, in order to get the winner, we had to be odd, right? So if there is 4 and 2, 2, it's hard to decide. So it's always odd number of judges. So in JCI debating, there is always 3. No matter if it is the group stage or if it is the finals, there's always 3 judges. But in JCI Mongolia, we have for the semi-final to the final level, we have 5 judges, but all the judges are the head judges, not the new judges towards the finals. Because we have like 40 judges, like I said in the beginning of the training. So we have all the star level, like the trainers in JCI Mongolia Academy. So all the head judges are eligible to judge the final round. This is also another part. For example, in JCI Mongolia, if the final is debated between, let's say, JCI Central and JCI UB, right? We don't allow the judges from that to chapter. So we put judges from different chapters, and the judges from a same chapter never judge their own chapter. And also in the group stage, we always put in different brackets in the groups. And for the ASPAC and area conference and the world level, we always try to have judges from different national organizations. So last year, I had a chance to judge at European conference and also at the World Congress. It is the very first time JCI Mongolia judge had a chance to judge at the international level. And it was a great experience. And I judged with a guy from Ireland, Scotland, and there was another lady from Turkey. And the chairperson was a lady from Malta. So we were all from different national organizations, we were never from the same national organization, because in order to have the conflict of interest or something. All right, and yeah, we have a chair of the judging panel. So amongst the three of the judges, one should be the chair of the judging panel. He's in charge of taking all the judging sheets and collect it. And also he has the privilege to introduce the winners. And he, at the end of the debating championship, the competition, he hands over all the materials to the chairperson. In JCI area conference and in the World Congress level, international level, there is always chairperson. Why there is S, there can be a co-chairperson, or they can be a vice chairperson for these debating and public speaking competitions. They are mostly appointed JCI vice presidents. So last year was the Annalisa was JCI Europe vice president assigned to Europe, and she was from Malta, and she was chairing the World Congress debating competition. Yep. And what are the roles for the chairperson? Because this person is mostly the vice presidents assigned from world headquarters. Chairperson serves as a championship MC. So he's always like moderating and announcing the winner and calling up the next teams to the debate. And also they do the ballots from all the teams, right? And also he's in charge of appointing and training the judging panel. And also he needs to assign one timekeeper for the debating. The chairperson is in charge of on-site championship logistics, you know, so there should be the room and room layout, and there should be the microphone, podium, the debaters' table and chairs, and judges' table and chairs, technician table and chairs. There should be a doorman, because during a debate under progress, no one is allowed to get in or get outside of the room. So it's like there should be a doorman and never allows anyone to enter the room during the debate. The chairperson is in charge of all of that, and it's a very crucial position. And what's the role of HQ for area and the World Congress level? So they announce the registration process. They're in charge of the registrations, basically. So national teams can apply. One national team apply only one position. So there is but the one exclusion, which is if JCI Mongolia wants to get together with JCI Denmark, let's say, so we can get together one team, become one team, but we should decide which national organization we should compete for, right? So it's allowed by JCI. So two national teams can get together as a one team, right? And they should apply within the given time by the HQ. So mostly it is the deadline is similar to JCI awards deadlines. So we all apply for the register for this JCI awards, right? So it's the same deadline. So for example, for ASPAC, let's say it was the last April 29th, which is same date as the awards material submission deadline. So for the other area conferences, it's also similar. So for the national organizations, the emails are received to the national president and national secretary general email addresses, and they should apply for the World Congress. And the area conference champions are eligible to participate to the world stage automatically. And if not, the first come, first serve basis. Most of the time, last few years, JCI is allowing only 8 teams for the World Congress. So the first come, first serve basis. So it's very important to apply right away once you receive the invitational email from the world headquarters. And the other important role from the HQ is to decide the motions, so the debating topics and public speaking topics. So which is very crucial to what sort of the motions we're gonna have for that specific tournament, the championship. So that's another role for the HQ, and both also actually the chairperson gets assistance with that for selecting the motions. So end of this session, we will try to have some practice exercise session. We will have a breakout rooms and we'll see how to develop a motion. And also we will work on the motion, how to define the important terms. In JCI Mongolia, for example, we don't have a local competition. So local chapters doesn't have, has no competition amongst themselves, but they have a debating practice sessions. So there is gonna be invitation of JCI Mongolia National Debating Championship. So with that announcement, we recruit those who are interested in debating. So maybe, for example, for my home chapter, once the announcement is released, maybe we have like 8 to 10 members of us are interested to participate in debating, right? But for some chapters, it's hard to find the debaters. Maybe they're shy or maybe they don't want to go on stage. So there are like maybe just 2, 3 members who are interested in debating. So there is no need for competition, you know, for the local level. But of course, you can organize competition. So if you want, the competition organizing committee is in charge of everything. Should be in charge. So for the national level in JCI Mongolia, we have the host chapter. So like I said, I mentioned there are parties for debating, right? So one is debaters, the other one is organizers, the other one is judges. So in JCI Mongolia, organizers are a chapter. Each year, we assign one of our chapters to organize National Debating Championship. So they are in charge of all the functional things, to prepare the rooms, to prepare the podium, microphone, and everything, right? But for the judges, we are in charge of selecting the motions, developing motions, and the topics, right? And all those. So we're assigned to different individuals, different parties in charge of your question, let's say. But it's like really up to you. There is nothing just like compulsory. You must do like this way, but there's nothing like that. So JCI Mongolia has developed their own structure like this way, and it's been working completely fine for the 6th year in a row. So it's always great to, because in Mongolia we have JCI Mongolia Academy, you know, that helps us a lot. So Academy is in charge of developing all these motions, selecting the topics for public speaking and everything. So it's very nice. And all these motions and everything is actually approved by National President and National Executive Committee. That's their final decisions are made by the Constitution. When we develop the motions and topics, we try to align the ideas, the motions with this national level, the strategy, and also the JCI World strategies, you know. So it's kind of aligned, not an off topic for selecting the motions. So the motions are released during the very first day of the event. So let's say this year, the European conference is in Finland, right? So on the very first date, the debaters will receive their motions. So maybe depending on the program of the area conference, most of the time it's the second day or third day of the, mostly the third day of the program, the full event. So you have only 2 days to prepare for the specific motions, given motions. So it's quite challenging. It's very challenging. So you will receive 10 or 8 completely new motions topics, and you have to work on that research, do research on that, you know, and search all the statistics and everything. And you have to find the stories related to you or to your teammates and or to your country, you know. So that's like very agile task or homework to do before you go on stage. But in JCI Mongolia, we at least try to give the motions 2 weeks in advance. So that way they are able to prepare for this competition. So debating is all about research. and being a team, it's a teamwork. Okay, so at the area conference and the World Congress, the 30 minutes are given before before you go on stage. So they draw the ballots, and you know who you're gonna debate against, and all the debate orders. So you will know I'm gonna be the first debate, or I'll be the last one. Our team's gonna debate at the last. So you know everything, and which motions you're gonna debate on will be released also 30 minutes before. And once your team is announced to be on this stage, you will have 10 or 15 minutes to prepare on the motion. And after that given time, the team captain of the proposition team must go on stage. So since if you're formed your national team, you must develop the way of developing like motions. So you have to assign your team members to different tasks. So one doing the research, one doing the searching the statistics, you know, and one is like doing the organizing the delivering structure. So it should be the very first argument. It should be the second. It should be the third argument, because it's always important to where to put the most important argument. Because in JCI debating, mostly we have 3 arguments for one side, right? So it's important to order all these debate the arguments, right? So one is working on the strategies, one is working on the research, one is working on the elaborating or like going deeper into the examples, let's say. So you have to like divide into the tasks for each members. While they're preparing for like the area conference or the World Congress, they has to establish their own way of preparing, developing the emotions, right? So they should be like, because everyone in the team has a different skill sets. Like for some is good at researching, some is good at developing the strategy. So just work on that. And in JCI Mongolia, it's a little bit secret, but we always ask help for our past national teams. So when you receive like 8 new topics, you have only 1.5 day. And it's a very limited time. So we have a national team group chat, and we just send the motions and asking them to help. What's gonna be the good strategy to develop these motions? Is there any good arguments for this specific motion, right? So that's like a teamwork for us in JCI Mongolia, but it's a very, very secret, but I shared. So here we have the room layouts. There should be 3 chairs with 1 big table for the debaters. So on the left side, from the judging table angle, on the left side of the stage, there is always the proposition team seats. And the team captains sit towards the very first seat to the podium, and the first speaker and second speaker. That's the order of sitting. And on the right-hand side, there is the opposition team seats. So before the teams take their stage and sit on the table, they should know if they're proposition or opposition, right? So 15 minutes before, prior to this getting on the stage, they have already drawn the ballots. And the middle of the stage, there is podium with the microphone. And just opposite side of the stage, there is the judge table. There should be 4. Why 4? The one is the timekeeper. Okay, and there should be a chairperson's table with microphone. It can be on the right-hand side of the stage most of the time, but it's not compulsory. They also can have on the left side. It's okay. Oh. Right, and it's always good to have the waters behind the audience by the wall, so the debaters and also the audience can take a bottle of water And it's like organizer's responsibility to do that. And in this picture, we have like 2 doors and 2 door guards, right? One on the left hand, one on the rear side of the room. And there's also gonna be technicians table. They like mute the microphones and, you know, open up the microphone and speaker and the volume and everything. They are in charge. And there's audience chairs. You can put the chairs in a theatrical way. Here we have debaters structure and some roles. What are their main responsibilities in debating? When we think it's like all 3 of them may be similar or different. So we have to distinguish what are their main roles, right? So the team captain is the very first one going on stage, so that he has to introduce the team. So basically, he's gonna introduce the very first and second speakers and what they're gonna talk about. So he has to deliver the main message of the argument. So we call this task as an introductory speech of the team captain. So the very important point of the team captain is to define all the important terms in the motion. So now later in the slides, we will go over some motion definition practices. So it's very important. So as a team captain, you assume the other team doesn't know that term. Even if the word says father, you have to explain what father is. So it's very important. Otherwise, they can take advantage. So the other team can take advantage of it. So as a proposition team captain, your main task is to define all the important terms. And also the proposition team has an advantage to set scope. Right? So let's say we will have another motion in the next slides, which is all citizens, let's say. There is a word, the part in the motion says all citizens. So how would you define all citizens? Is it like a citizen means like 18 or up to above? Or is it like all citizens, babies, and until the elderly? So it's important to define. How do you define all citizens, right? So it's important. So when you are debating, you can, on the proposition side, you have a chance to set the scope. So when you are defining these all citizens, you can put a scope as employee or working level, labor level citizens, right? So it's your great advantage for the proposition team to set the scope and all the definitions. Okay, so let's move on. And the first speaker, his main responsibility is to put forward the main arguments of the team. So let's say your team has 3 arguments. So mostly the first speaker delivers 2 of them or 3 of them, even if the time you has the time, Sumi. So it's important to deliver your important messages as a first speaker, but you also have to refute the other team. So if you just like in a percentage wise, if you divide the tasks, your main job is to deliver, put forward your main arguments, 70% maybe, and 30% you can refute the opposing team. Okay, if you just like, it's like percentage wise, if you divide, but something like that, range. And second speaker mostly refutes, rebuttals. So you have to neglect the other team's arguments. You know, you have to shut down, knock down all the other team's arguments. That's your main duty. Main duty, 70%. And 30% you can support your team members, team arguments. And you know the team captain comes again, right? So he gets on stage twice, introductory speech and closing. So team captain once again come up on the stage and he never speaks something new. He always sums up all the arguments and examples that the previous speech included. Nothing new, but you have to summarize the debate. And you have to, how to say, persuade or the judges or the audience that you win. You know, you have to prove how you win this debate. That's the task for the team captain as a concluding speech. So team captain should be a guy who is the most strategist. So he should know, has a capacity to see everything thoroughly, all these aspects, right? And the first speaker should be someone who is very structured and cohesive one. Because when you are delivering your main argument, it should be very organized. So the first speaker's main task, like the qualifications I look for is very good structure and the way of delivering the message and persuasiveness. Because your main arguments should be insisted by your delivery of the message, right? So it's very important. And second speaker, I mostly put the most linguistic guy in the team. Second speaker. And how to say, like quarrelsome guy, you know, like those who are always seeing like the negative side of something, right? Who's able to see something and just not scared to just share his opinions, you know, and someone like that, and who's must be linguistic because he has to understand everything previously said by the other team, and his main duty is to neglect and knock down all the points, right? So he has to be very good at getting all the points and shutting down their points, right? So in JCI Mongolia, what we do is that we always interchange the positions amongst our 6 members. So national team members always play on all these different positions. So they have experience of what they're feeling, you know, what their main tasks and duties. So if they become the team captain, they know what their team member 1 is actually worried, or, you know, and they know the whole team. So it's very important to interchange during the practices, and we select the best one for the final. Okay, so what are the judges' roles? So of course, we have to score the debate, but it's very crucial. It's not a very easy task, because in JCI debating for the international level, all these guys are very intelligent, and their skill set and everything is very good. But how to score is very important. So you have to practice a lot and tons to get at the fluent or expertise on this. And of course, we gotta make sure the competition is fair. We can't be one-sided. Let's say I love Denmark and I can't be going for Denmark. You know, because yeah, it's very important to be fair. And what we see is that the defining definitions of the motion is very important, so that it's very clear. If there is a lackage of definitions of the term in the motion, the debate is overall, it's not very good. So it's very important to have the definitions of the specific motions. And the judges should assist, of course, the chairperson. And conversely, we don't need to feel rushed by the chairperson, but always chairpersons are nice guys. So they always wait for the judges. So they never rush us. It's very nice. And it's our, let's say, not role, but responsibility as a judge to provide constructive feedback to the debaters. In Mongolia, for example, just right after the debate, all the judges have 2 minutes, 3 minutes given time, depending on which stage, they give feedback to the debaters. All judges are eligible, but advancing to the semifinals and the upper stages, only the head judges are eligible to give the feedback. So it's very important. But in Asia Pacific conference, the area conference, they never give feedback, you know, during the debating, like official event. But maybe like a break or like breakout time or something like that. If you have a chance to approach to the judges, you may ask. But in Asia Pacific, we never ask for a feedback from the judges. In JCI Mongolia, we must do the feedback after the debate. And before we announce the winner, all the judges say the feedback, give the feedback. So for the European conference, I see that right after the announcement of the winner, all the debaters approach to the judge table and how did I perform? What was my faults? What I was good at? Something like that. They're just approaching the judges and asking the questions. So it's a good way in Europe, but in Asia Pacific it's different. So it varies, depending on the culture or so. Okay, so JCI debating is it's an international competition. So, I'm not like a native speaker. I've learned English up and down in my middle school and high school, and at the end I finished college in the US. But you have to speak very clear. That's the point. You can be fluent, you can be native, but in JCI debating, it's very important to speak clear. And if you are speaking too fast, if the other team doesn't understand you, what is the point of you to deliver your message? So it's important to deliver the message very clearly. And also in JCI debating, we don't use too much fancy words. What's your content is the most important. And intonation, of course, it's important. Why? Because it's a way of delivering your message. So you must maybe give some significance to the important part of your delivery message, the raising your voice, or some part you may lower. And yeah, the emotions is also important. If you are like influencing your audience to cry, or if they making them laugh, it's a very nice additional point. So in JCI debating, there is a point where we give for humor. It's very interesting, right? So if you raise something humorous, you will get point. So why? Because we don't try to be too serious. The debaters want, the judges wants the debaters to be more free, let's say, how to say, casual only. So it's important for them. And JCI debating is very polite environment. So they never be rude to never be rude to your other team, never be too aggressive to your other team. It's about not winning. JCI debating is about, there's anyway, if you're participating, you are winning, So that's what we have taught for many years when we were debating. So don't be rude, always stay polite and respect the other team. And maybe you can be rude to your own teammates, but don't be rude to your other team. And yeah, structure the content. It's a very important. Like I said, debating is mostly win by the content. The delivering skills are in terms of the point. We will go over that later in the slides, but it's very important to have the right content and right arguments. That's very important. And our examples and the statistics should be related to the main motion, and it should not be outside of the scope. So we have to stay within the scope. All the examples and the arguments should be in the scope. If you're out of scope, that the point you delivered has no points. So it's very important to be in the scope. And next, dress code. Yes, it was a very interesting experience for me to seeing dress code last year in American conference in Colombia. So some teams were wearing just very, very casual, like shorts and like maybe like regular t-shirt, and polo or something like that. But in Asia Pacific, we always dress like a business or like formal, let's say. Here in this picture, we have the Hong Kong and Malaysia. I think it was 2018, Kagoshima ASPAC in Japan. And the bottom one is from Hong Kong, and JCI Hong Kong wears this red color for their national team representing color, and Malaysia is wearing blue. So these are like more like not casual, but it's like more like business or formal casualties. I think I like this way, and it's good to have like wear same dress code for a team. So it wouldn't get point, but at least you will get attention of the judges in a different way, you know. And when JCI Mongolia debating, we always wear the national board, JCI Mongolia national tie and suit and everything. So we always wear the pins and the name tags in order to make it more formal. It's all about practice, really. Practice, practice, practice. Debating is all about practice. And the very first time before JCI, I never debated. I was like never was on the stage, but JCI always allows you to try something new, and debating was like something like that for me. And that's the very first time getting on the stage and battling with other team with factual arguments. You know, it was a very great experience, and we practiced like crazy in Mongolia. You know. For example, that's like my home chapter culture, you know, when we practice like 2 times a day, you know, when it's close to the competition, it's like crazy practicing. But with the practice, you always win because you have to do the research and you have all these statistics and data and the content arguments you prepared. When you're on this stage, you feel free, you know, you feel confident and you just rock it on the stage. So it's all about practice. I have to advise practice, practice, practice.
Speaking of practice, who exactly are you talking to? Is it the audience? Is it the judges? Is it the opposite team? Or who are you actually addressing when you're on the podium?
When you're on the podium, mostly your audience is your judges. When you are talking to the opposing team, the other team, it seems more like subjective, you know. So it's better to talk to persuade, insist your judges. That's the best way. Maybe if you have like 3 minutes, 2 minutes is towards the judges, 30 seconds for the audience, 30 seconds for the maybe opposing team. That will be my strategy because judges will give you the point. You know, so it's important to talk to the judges most of the time. Is that answering your question?
Yeah, it is. It's very different from what we do in Denmark because we have our own debating, and it is also a whole other structure. But we are actually speaking to the opposite team because otherwise we won't have a debate actually. So the judges will be there, they will observe, but since it's another, you know, point system as such, we are actually addressing the opposite team and not the judges or not the audience. So I was just curious for what exactly should be the point of motion in the English debating, international debating.
Right. So that's a great point. But last year I was traveling all these area conferences, you know, all 4 area conferences. Since I'm so into this debating, I try to watch all the debatings and how it's run in different areas. So I'm very close and familiar with this Asia Pacific championship for 5-6 years I've experienced. But in Europe and also the World Congress, like I said, they were mostly talking to the judges as well. At the World Congress, yeah, they're also talking to the judges most of the time. So I think it's kind of standard in JCI debating. So it is delivered in that way. But of course, you can talk to the opposing team, the other team. But in JCI Mongolia, for example, it is seen as an subjective, you know, how to say, subjective offense to the other team. Talking to the other team, like pointing to them, is like forbidden in JCI Mongolia.
Okay, makes sense. I mean, I will do whatever it has to score more points because, of course, we want to win. I was just curious for what is the term. Thank you.
Yeah. So persuading your judges is your main task. So great. So practicing is, yeah, of course, as a team, participants should practice, and also the judges should practice. You know, it's very important to get the note paper, how to put into different sections, where to note where to put some notes, examples in. This everything is like how to say systemized. Its format is like prepared in JCI Mongolia debating. So we have the motions. So of course, there's proposition, opposition, and we also call it for and against. And it should be balanced. You know, the motions should be balanced. It can't be one-sided. If the motion is more like for the for side or the against side, it's impossible to debate, you know. So it's very important. And sometimes the choosing right motion, the balanced motion, is a failing, you know, because it's hard for even at HQ level. It is noted because if you're going to your area conference, some motions might be too one-sided because it happened in the past. So we have to let the HQ know about this specific motion once you receive all the motions. It's very important. So define the parts of the motion and as a whole, yeah, it's very important. Like I said, that's how you are putting the fundamentals or the very starting point for the debate. Without these definitions, you can't debate. Let's see an example of a motion. So what do you think of this motion? This house believes that JCI should advocate for global peace. It's unfair, right? It's, of course, JCI's principle is to advocate for global peace. Opposition team, there is no chance to neglect or rebuttal this motion. So it's too unfair. So an example of an unfair motion. Sample motion definition. This house believes that cats are better than dogs. That's a very, very simple motion. So how would you define this motion? What are the cats? We should know what are the cats. And also, what are the dogs? So are these two comparable? Right, it's very important. And what does actually better mean? Is it a better pet or is it the more friendly? What does it mean better? Right, so you have to define every single thing. When we see this, it seems like obvious, right? Cats are better than dogs, but when you define, things are different. So as you define it, you also put some scope. So for the better, we can define they are a better pet, or they are better in making friends, or something like that, you know. So let's see, how about this? You guys know these two animals? Okay, so it is also too narrow when you're putting the scope. Scottish fold and Chinese crested. How are you gonna make contrast between these two animals, right? It's not debatable. It's like too narrow. Example of setting scope. It's a very bad scope. So it must be debatable. Comparing these two things must be debatable. Okay, so now we're gonna move into exercise session. So let's get to collectively together, try to define this motion. This house believes that all citizens should receive a minimum basic income. So which words or which part of this sentence we should define, do you think? So in JCI, when we set scope, we never put a geographic location. Try to make it a different way. So maybe for all citizens should receive minimum basic income. Maybe, like I said, all citizens means from just newly born babies till all the elderly. Or we can put it as 18 to up to elderly, you know, or all these working age people should get minimum basic income. So we have to define this, everything, it must be very clear. Otherwise, debate's gonna ruin. That's very important. And also we can define receive. So we can receive in many different ways. You know, receiving is like you're getting it into your bank account right away. Maybe that's the direct meaning. Or receiving means you can get some exceptions when you're paying taxes, right? So it's like if it's a government policy, when you have to pay your tax, maybe you can just deduct that minimum income from your tax. Something like that. You have to define everything, like I said. Even the receive, you can define it, right? So that way, the debate will be more fruitful, more meaningful. Otherwise, they never intersect, you know. Without lack of definition, debate is not a debate. So let's say you missed defining a word minimum basic income or receive, like any part of this the sentence. The opposing team captain has a chance to catch it up. So your team is defining all citizens should receive blah blah, but receive you didn't define. But the opposing team can define this missing part. If they define it as a tax exempt, at the end of the year, all your arguments gonna ruin. So it's very important to not missing any point. The judges wouldn't deduct point as you didn't, but for the receive word, it's an example, right? But it's important for you, your team, or your following explanations, definitions should somehow gives the content. It would be okay. I wouldn't deduct point. But if the other team captain takes this opportunity and define that word, specific word, and they can shift to the very different direction. So it's important to define it. And if the other team has the now taking the lead in charge of like shifting the direction, they are winners, you know. So it's important, it's their choice, you know, it's very important for them to define all these important parts of the motion. Let's wrap it up. And it is a great session, and I was even lost in time. So getting to the end of this session. So points of information, it's very important. It's what makes a debate. It's not a public speech. So it's like a real-time battle, and you're asking questions, and you show your in the content, and you are part of this debating, and it's very important part. And always check this point of information. You can call like over the hand, and you can stand up and POI, that's enough. And the first time is protected, right? So you can't raise POIs during the very first 60 seconds of the speech. So just after this 60 seconds, if you have any questions, stand up and raise POI. You can say point of information, or you can even say POI. It's okay. And I would recommend to at least have 3 to 5 POIs during a debate. And how do you handle POI? So on the other hand, so let's say you're having your speech, and the other team member is asking for a POI. And let's say you're in the middle of something very important, and you don't want to be interrupted, but you have to give some short answer. Let's say you have to just reply to the POI questionnaire. So you can say, I will get back to you. If you are in the middle of very important point, and you can say, if I have time left, I can get back to you. You can say something like that. Or you can even say, sorry, I can't now. It's okay. You know, it's okay, you can say. But you're just not in the very important part, and you're just delivering some examples. Just take it. As you take it, you will get extra point, right? And you can say just like POI accepted, or you can say, please ask your question, right? And you can say just like accepted, and they will ask the question, And like Laurie asked, 5 to 8 seconds. That's my preference, the most. And the answer, go ahead. It can be depending on your time left. The remainder of the time, you can deliver as much as you want, but don't take too long on that POI point, but try to stick to your main points. So judging sheet, okay, so let's move quickly on this. You have 5 different sections for this scoring sheet. These first 2 lines are the rows are definition and content. These two combines to 60 points. So like you can get up to 100 points as a speaker. So 60 point is definition and content. It's very important, right? And definition says, did the team clearly define the motion? Did they show knowledge about the motion? Was there a strategy for arguing the motion clear? So the judges see these few questions for this special section. And content, did the team communicate the motion logically? Did it demonstrate knowledge of the subject and provide technical information? Okay, so basically definition and content is the most important part for debating. You must know the emotion, understand the emotion thoroughly, and you must have collected the knowledge about the emotion, and you must have content developed strategically in order with the arguments and examples and statistics. That's the very important thing. And maybe I would say for the content, technical information is like, if you're giving some personal stories, that makes more lively, you know. If you're just talking about all stats and that would be too cold, too cool for debating, you know. It feels like no touching. And if you have like personal stories or like anything relatable, that makes more lively for debating, and the content points would increase. So from here, you can see debate skills, that's 20 points. So did the team develop a good argument? Clearly deliver a good intonation, include humor in context, right? So we always highly recommend to have a humor in the context. And answer the point of information. So POI is always here in the debate skills. Asking also gets point. Answering, handling also gets point. Yeah, intonation. So when you're having strong part of the emotion, you have to raise your voice a bit, maybe, right? If you're giving some sad stories, you can also just lower the voice and stuff like that. That's the skills point. So you will get 20 points from here. And teamwork is a very easy point where you can collect 10 points. Just refer to your teammates and that'd be great. And if you just like follow up some missed points and coordinating the team captain and the previous speakers and the next speakers, you will get this point. It's very easy. And timekeeping, it's very simple. We know how we get these 10 points. You have 2 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 minutes, you get 10 seconds buffer time, and up and above 1 second, 1 point. That's it. It's very simple to get in timing. And a team total gets 350 points. So team captain conclusion speech gets another 50 points. So as a total, a team gets 350 points. And here is the timing sheet. Team captain 2 minutes, against team captain 2 minutes. Other first and second speakers have 3 minutes, and team captains has the concluding speech 2 minutes. All these first 6 row has 100 points each, and the bottom 2 has 50 each. And total, a team can get up to 350 points. So as a timekeeper, the timing judge puts the actual time, how many minutes they used, and they put the different seconds. So 2 minutes, let's say here, 2 minutes, 5 seconds. Actual time, we put 2 minutes 5 seconds. Difference is 5 seconds. And how many points here is 0 because it's in the buffer time. So we no point deducted, there's 0. So let's say here for speaker 1, 3 minutes, actual time, she spoke 3 minutes, 15 seconds. So difference second is 15. So deducted point is 5. Yeah. So that's the job of the timekeeper. So he will put only the deducted points and the judges will calculate at the end of the scoring. Okay, so now we're at the end and closing.
Thank you, Christina, for making this possible and you know, to bring this sharing of experiences in Europe and not only. So thank you once again. Narku, has been a pleasure having you, and thank you for your time. The session has been very insightful, and as you saw, very engaging as well. So thank you once again, and see you in the next trainings.
Thank you very much. And yeah, it's my last words. And I'm always open if you have any questions regarding this debating and also regarding the ASPAC 25 next year in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. I'll be happy to assist you with any matters. And I'm thankful for this opportunity with Christina and JCI MaR and JCI Europe Academy and European Development Council, right? EDC Councillor Christina and Ambra. Thank you for assisting. It's a great privilege to take this opportunity. And I'd like to also invite you to have a mutual debate with JCI Mongolia national team if you're preparing your teams. And this year as a commissioner, I'm in charge of taking care of my national team. So my team started preparing for the ASPAC last week, like I said. So welcome to contact me and to practice together. Maybe our guys can, give more experience that we couldn't speak during this session. So it's also another opportunity for us to get in touch again. And yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you once again.